We're good. Botched intros galore. Welcome. Somebody do a botched intro compilation, please. It'll just all be me.
Did you call yourself Sama?
No, I think Zoom just put that honorific in. That's crazy. Who would have done that? No, it was me. I kid. It was me. Our first question comes in from Alex AI. Hi, allies. What are the fields that each ally wants to progress to get better at in 2020, and how do you intend to do it? It's absolutely cool if you say you like things the way they are right now.
Podcast hosting. Gulp.
Stress management / exercise. Meditation.
Yeah, bro.
I'm with you on that, Huber.
I
Incredibly stressful the last few days.
I have always been, my whole life, I've been terrible at time management, and I just want to be better at it. So that would be a good thing to focus on.
Yeah, I think I'm similar in time management in the sense, though, that, like, yeah, finding those times to stop working. It always feels like a challenge.
Yeah, totally. I'm with you, man.
But I think that goes into what you're saying, though, because, like, what was it? Kotaku had that article where they're saying, like, when people are, like, crunching to get through a review, then they're, like, specifically going to give them a day off after they finish, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So, like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Like, that's something to keep in mind.
The way that we're structured right now, I think particularly if you're on the review side of things or the content coverage side of things, and this is, I mean, it's true for everybody, but there's always something to do. There's always something to work on, and that can be stressful. So you guys talking about, like, stress management and stuff, that's at the top of the list.
I've been trying to be, I don't know if this is a field, more emotionally checked in 2020. That's an area of improvement. Also exercise, Huber. I've been exercising a lot more. It feels weird. It feels
awesome.
weird to be running again. Haven't done that consistently since high school.
Nice.
And it's just painful.
Nice.
Jones, I had a question for you, though. When you said that the field you want to get better in is podcast hosting.
Yes.
There was a moment last week where you asked me how I even knew anything about these games, and I was just like, I Googled them, Jones.
Right.
Are you aware that, like, Googling game titles is part of podcast hosting?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay.
But when and I've said this on Cup of Jones, when I filled in for you for 2 weeks, I was hosting Kyle Bossman's Easy Allies podcast.
Yeah.
So I was taking your notes and doing that. Whereas when I take over as host, I'm going to be researching from the ground up, basically. Like I'm going to be,
To me, the moment was like you were enamored that I could even possibly know a thing about any of these games. It's like,
Right.
You just Google it.
Right.
Just put it into Google.
Just give it a Google.
Give it a Google.
This is just some of the stuff I deal with every day. Do you hear this?
Is that it, Huber?
What
I
is
heard
that?
something.
This is a new thing.
What is that?
Crazy. Dude, it's like they're like pumping something outside. I don't even know.
Is it a neighbor or is it just like work outside?
It looks like work.
Oh.
Yeah.
Huber,
Starting a day. It's like
Pumping some like something. I don't know.
for the lockdown, Huber, I moved to Inaba, and it's pretty chill over here. So if
Yeah.
it's very quiet, so if you want to come over to Inaba, I think there's some extra room.
Excellent. I would sleep in a capsule at this point.
Dude, I would love a capsule.
Our next question comes in from Alexander Ziranov. Hello, allies. Let's imagine for a second that Easy Allies is an RPG and you are its party members. How many levels have you gained during this 4-year journey? What is your favorite quest so far? And what is the best piece of gear that is already replaced by a higher level item?
Great question. Sorry, what was the second one? How many levels gained?
What is your favorite quest so far?
Favorite quest.
And the best piece of gear that's been replaced by a higher level item?
Great question.
Yeah, it is a good question. I like it.
Yeah, I'm capped. Definitely the first concert.
Jones just went out about having the podcast host.
No,
Yeah,
he's level capped.
No, that's
as good as you
like
can.
prestiging. You know, that's New Game Plus.
he's got to switch to another job.
my
He's
God.
capped on his current job right
Okay,
Jones has been
okay.
grinding, man.
now. the garage couch was a legendary piece of gear,
Mhm.
but it has since been surpassed and upgraded.
We got the
That's
Lanskrona, yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever beat the goddess. That is the priceless artifact.
Yeah, we haven't upgraded that yet.
Yeah.
That just stays there.
It's
Even
unique.
the bigger couch was so
That-
funny that we got the double twin couches, and then we're like, that couch in the back needs to be bigger, and so the other couch moved into the control room.
Just gotta
Like
get
just
it.
swapping that out immediately. It was like Burning Crusade when you just like your first green piece is like, well, there it goes.
Lightning is that piece of gear that you can't even sell to vendors. You can't discard it. It's like that beginner piece of
Oh,
gear that
yeah.
like
Yeah.
will eventually transform into like a legendary weapon at the end of the game.
It's an account unique.
Yep.
Yeah.
Quest.
This current quest, the Easy X quest, was
yeah.
it's definitely nuts.
We gained some
It was
levels.
definitely Quest.
Yeah.
It had
Yeah.
some turns, some twists and turns
Some
in there
twists
too.
and turns, yeah.
It's like the Mines of Moria.
I'd like
Yeah.
to think that this is a RPG where we can D-level as well.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
This is Final Fantasy 11.
Yeah.
The year 2 concert I think was pretty good. Like in terms of like I think that so far has been the best scenario for what we were trying to do.
Yeah, Box Peak premiere. That was pretty
Yeah.
hype.
Word.
It still had issues, but
What doesn't?
Sure.
Like this, I don't even know if this is in like top 10 Easy Allies moments, but I keep thinking about Blood saying taco on stream and just like not answering it. I will never forget that moment. I will be 80 years old thinking about Blood saying taco. It wouldn't have been as funny if he like had said anything or acknowledged
Right.
it, but
Yeah,
he
yeah,
just didn't.
Or if Blood does stuff like that every now all the time, you know?
Right.
Like
right.
you need it's like him sniffing Kyle, you know, like that's why
Right.
it's so alarming when it happens.
oh yeah, that actually was a fun. Yeah, Mega Man Legends, man, that was fun. And that I was actually right.
Yeah.
There was a moment where I'm like, this could just be pointless.
You teased me the day before. You were like, I have a plan for tomorrow's Hall of Greats. It might not work. I was like, what the hell is Blood gonna do?
That's cool.
I think in terms of level, I'm gonna put this in World of Warcraft terms. Like I just got my mount. I've been really looking forward.
I
to
was
getting my
just
mount.
gonna say that, Ben.
Wow.
Level 40.
Level, yeah.
Level
got my
40.
mount.
Still a ways to go.
Yep. Got my Raptor.
It's so funny. I feel like entered in level 12 and leaving level 14. I feel like I gained 2 levels, and it's just, you know, they take a lot of XP to get 1 level, you know?
But you're playing you're playing a Korean MMO, so those 2
Mhm.
levels took a long time to get.
And I spent a lot of time on character creator. Really wanted to master that.
And now you're doing a respec.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
respect.
Yeah, in terms of
Doing
jobs
respect.
and all that stuff, like it's funny because I feel like I have this build with Easy Allies where I'm just like putting +1 into like all of these different skills that are like low level. You know, like I was working on like graphics and stuff with Ian yesterday for stuff we're doing with Rooster Teeth, and I'm like, Ian, I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm trying to follow all these specifications. I have no freaking clue.
You're right, but I feel like you photoshopped +10 since starting Easy Allies.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blood has picked up numerous skills. Our next question comes in from Ulf himself. With a new generation hopefully launching this year and only Xbox having revealed their console's form factor, it got me thinking, what is the best looking console to date? Strictly the physical look of it though, software does not matter. Controllers are optional. I like this question a lot too.
I
The
love
Switch.
The Switch is
PS4
pretty
looks.
good. That's a pretty hot console.
Hubert, you got cut off. What were you saying?
The original PS4 with like the glossy top. It's
And the
annoying.
angles.
It's really annoying for fingerprints, but it looks beautiful.
It was like half and half, right?
Yeah, that's what mine still looks like.
It's
Yeah.
a big, bulky monstrosity, but I kind of dig the way the original PS3s look. That sharp black. I don't know. This is a
Mine
tough
looks
question.
like that too.
I think it's PlayStation 2. Even though they stole the design, I think PlayStation 2 is still striking.
It's clean, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I know
The
some people
SNES.
don't like it, but I always like the N64.
Oh, I hate
yeah.
it.
Really?
What
I
do you
love
have to tell me what you like about it then, because I really do hate the way that thing looks.
Because I just thought the curves of it and everything, like it just looked like it was, it was trying to be sleeker and not just another box.
Oh, I thought it looked like cheap and like muscly.
The N64 reset button gives off a sensual vibe. The way it's
No,
just like
it doesn't.
What?
smoothly, yeah.
Hang on,
It's
I gotta
like got
I will
this
say this, though, I love-
smooth-
What?
I love how
Yeah.
because like definitely on the newer consoles, there's like little flaps because like you don't want to see any like
This
USB ports or
gives
anything.
off
They they
sensual-
hide all that stuff. I love that all the controller
This
ports
button.
are like sensual. I love that all the controller
Sensual.
ports are like a different color and they're all open on the front. So you just plug in one controller in the N64 and it's like the console's like more. Come on. Play 4-player GoldenEye, plug all the controllers in, let's do it.
I mean, dude, it's so
That's like-
soft.
the front's like the shape to me is iconic. Like the two round things in the front, like the curved raised face and the four controller things.
I just love that the power.
The
power is
logo.
hardcore, right?
The
The power.
logo. Look at that.
The power
Like,
is like
glossy.
you slam it on. You slam it off. You
Yeah.
slam it on. The reset is just like this soft reset. Reset the game.
Just to how fast Damiani whipped out the 64.
You got like the
I don't know that I can continue this
expansion
Q&A.
in there. Look at that.
One fun fact is at first I was very unaccepting of the name change on the N64, and so like I literally like cut out, because it was right size somehow. I cut out the Ultra 64 logo from an old Nintendo Power and had it taped to the front of my N64 profile.
Yeah.
Classy.
It was one of the things Blood had to put on his resume to get into Nintendo.
Mm.
Yeah. Cool modder.
The SNES reset and power, that's tactile. I love the SNES reset where you're just like,
Oh.
new thing.
The
The
snap
pop out button on the
slider
Super
button,
Nintendo
yeah.
was annoying. Checks it.
that click.
I love the way the Switch looks and feels though. I love it.
The feel was such a huge thing, man.
Yeah.
The second it just like plopped into my hands, I was like, because I had nightmares about. For some reason, I had this like coily like the old phone cords. I just thought it was that. You just have to like put the controllers on the side. What are they thinking?
Oh yeah, that
and
was.
it was like, oh, this is awesome.
To add on to that, the Switch Lite is sexy. It's a
Yeah.
It's a sexy system. Oh my god, Huber describing the N64 button
Huber.
essential.
Always like the DS Lite. Like
Oh,
the
yeah.
black and the finish on it.
Yes,
Always my
dude.
favorite of the clamshell designs of anything,
Oh.
even more than the GBASP.
The
I love that.
GBASPs feel good too.
Yeah,
The
I've got
flip
the
top.
navy one of those guys. It's like, yeah.
I ironically wound up with
no,
our
it's a
Super
DS
Smash
Lite,
Bros. 3DS.
Yeah, those ones like
Oh,
the new
that's sweet,
3DS, the new 3DS
Even though I
XLs
hate
look really
Super
nice
Smash
too.
Brothers.
Yeah,
I got a DS right here. It's a beauty, man.
like I loved when they started doing those designs on the front
Oh.
of the cover. Yeah,
The Game Boy SP felt pretty good too.
All right, everybody, just grab a random console and talk
You
about
can
how
see
sensual
everybody.
it is.
Look at that. Look,
So sensual.
you get Damiani and Ben. I'm playing the Damiani Ben game. Look at that.
Oh.
Oh,
here's the new
top and
3DS
bottom
XL.
screen.
That's
Yeah.
funny. You don't want to see it. There it is.
Yes.
All right,
Blood
blood showing
wins,
off.
Blood wins.
Blood showing off.
Man, I
Smoke
wish I
blood.
could pull out a Game Gear right now.
See all of
Smug
our
blood.
desktops and the reflections. Yay.
You know what? I want to give a special shout out to the Wii and its stand.
Yeah.
That actually was very impressive when
The
it first
Wii
showed
and
up.
its stand.
Shout out.
Yeah.
The Wii's cool. The Wii's
What about the PS2 stand?
Oh, I love that you had to buy separately, but the PS stand was so nice, so nice.
My PS.
I think there were some,
has a
as you
stand.
mentioned, Colin, there were really nice PS2s, like a lot of ones in Japan that released, like the PSX
Mhm.
one.
that
was
the yellow
white.
one? Oh, okay.
Oh, there's like the white one. That was really nice.
I wonder if there's a human being on planet Earth who did not have this Wii sensor bar fall off their television and clank down the back of their TV.
every
I wonder
time.
if anyone pulled that off.
That's bad.
The PS1.
No, I was thinking that like I had the big old fat TVs, but it still happened.
Remember the 360 faceplates?
Yeah,
Yes.
I have a Lightning Final Fantasy 13
Yep.
360 faceplate. Yes.
I have an Alan Wake one that I really liked that I got. I don't know why I got it. Somehow I got it. And I had that on my 360 for years before I played Alan Wake.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a 3DS. I'm like, Alan Wake's not even on a 3DS.
Yet.
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 Yeah, exactly.
What were you saying, Ben?
Oh, I just wanted to shout out the PS1 ONE. That's a really clean, good-looking console.
It's beautiful.
Also, the Atari made out of wood.
Mm-hmm.
Dope.
Oh, yeah.
Good, ye old wooden consoles of yesteryear.
Our next question comes in from Richard G. Flowers. Hey, Al, it's back with another horror question. This time, I'd simply like to get your takes on the worst or most stressful horror games you've played, whether something was just horribly designed or very difficult. Personally, I'm not very easily stressed out at all. Most of my friends joke that I am, in fact, already deceased. But The Evil Within was arguably the most stressful game I've ever played, purely because the amount of resources given in that game seems incredibly paltry. I was so frustrated to barely find any ammo on normal difficulty. Even Resident Evil 0 on hard seems positively generous in comparison. I've never returned to it, whereas The Evil Within 2 was so much easier on higher difficulties that it felt like a cosmic joke.
Clock Tower. On the PS1. I never beat it. I had no idea.
Yeah,
And I
Clock
guessed
Tower's
it
hardcore.
actually. I love that I at the time my friends and I were talking about how it ended, and then I looked it up later and I was like, I was right. I thought, I don't know if they had multiple endings or something, but I just I kept replaying that game but never actually finished it.
Outlast is, I always go back to Outlast. It's the scariest. It's the most stressful. Game is oppressive. Every second is a potential jump scare that will destroy you. So that game.
Is that the one you made me play?
Yes.
Same answer then. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like jump scares are divisive, they're kind of cheap, but I feel like Outlast uses them sparingly and effectively. So that game.
No weapon.
No weapon. Just too intense.
Yeah.
It's funny because now it is so not scary at all. But Doom 3, when I was originally playing it, terrified the shit out of me. I would jump so many times playing Doom 3. There's a lot.
I still really feel like second run of RE2 last year.
Yeah, RE2 on hardcore,
Yeah.
man, is so intense.
When you're getting chased down, and you just I just need to solve this puzzle. I need to solve this. Oh crap, there he is again. Let me run around the police station, try to lose him.
Along those lines, the hunk escape was extremely stressful for me. Trying to
my
optimize
gosh.
that. Yeah.
Dude, Damiani streaming that was the best.
The what if stories, Huber.
Yeah.
Those were so. Oh my
I
god.
remember you peeking through doors, dude.
Reset the room.
Reset.
I think that's where
like the
I
original.
think that's where
yeah.
it came from.
It is. It
Reset
is.
the room.
It so is.
The original Amnesia was pretty wild, and Siren back in the day was pretty tough. But I don't know if anything has affected me mentally more than PT. Honestly, I was dreaming Lisa's face for 2 weeks.
We've talked about this before, Ian, but it's so crazy that the same exact thing happened to me. I would go to bed and I would just see it. It was ingrained in
I would
my
see
brain.
your face when I shut my eyes.
Yeah.
Shout out to the radio in PT.
Yeah.
Something I don't really talk about that much, but the way they use that radio, there's so many things. If that had been a television, it would have been stupid. It would have been so cheesy. That's one of the hardest things for me in any movie period is an actor being a reporter. Hi, I'm I don't buy it. No, sorry. Nine times out of 10, it's just you're an actor. This doesn't feel like a news broadcast at all. And they put it just far enough in the background. And even the guy at the beginning where he's he wasn't even creative in how he did it. That tone, that crackly, re-recorded sound design was just so pitch perfect. That game. Oh.
The best newscaster in a movie has got to be in The Game at the beginning when they got a real newscaster.
Yeah, he's an actual newscaster.
Yeah. Best use of real life newscaster in a film.
That's a good movie.
Our next question comes in from James Davey. Hi, allies. What are your favorite Simpson episodes and moments of all time? Love and respect.
Monorail, probably.
Say that again. Simpsons.
Simpsons.
Oh my God, Damiani, we were just talking about it. I'm so glad you reminded me.
Yeah, because
of
I'm
this
in the
one.
middle of.
We got the Flanders wants to, or Homer wants to
Let's
be
be
friends,
friends
or
to go
Flanders
to the
wants,
Super Bowl, basically.
and he
Yeah.
like steps out of the bush, like the,
The
two of
shrubs.
them. Yeah.
Is that
And
the one where,
he chases them to the press. Yeah.
is that the T-shirt cannon one, the mod one? Or no? Is that a
Ooh,
different
no, I
one?
mean
That's a heavy
big
one.
Flanders episode, yeah.
The I think Treehouse of Horror 4, I think, has some of my favorite moments. I think it's 4, it with the King Kong one.
Yeah.
And Burns gets hit by the gas and he's like, I was strolling through the gas one day. And then the joke about Mr. Smithers saying, he's like, they're gonna bring Marge on the boat, and Burns is like, what do you think, Mr. Smithers? And he goes, I think women and semen don't mix. And then Mr. Burns just goes, we know what you think. Oh man.
Michael Jackson episode.
The
Which is, like,
baseball
banned
episode.
now?
It's really good. It's
The
banned.
Yeah.
the baseball episode, is that the Homer dancing Homer?
Daryl.
Oh.
Trim those sideburns. That one.
Oh, Daryl Strawberry cries.
Daryl Strawberry cries. It's like they're professionals. This doesn't get to them.
The casino. Like, that's crazy talk. No, I'm serious. No, I mean, that's crazy talk. My brother. That's a good one. Planet of the Apes.
Basically any. Oh my God, Dr. Zaius. Yeah.
Oh,
Any
the music,
episode-
Dr. Zaius.
Dr. Zaius, Dr.
Yeah, I
Zaius.
just watched that like a
Oh,
night
that
ago.
episode is amazing.
You're cast in the role of the human. It's the
Yeah.
part I was born
The
to play, baby.
Troy McClure one where
Can I
yeah.
play the piano anymore? Of course you can. Well, I couldn't before. Any episode that Conan wrote where something just randomly bursts into flames, that's always great. Yeah, rip Phil Hartman. Any Phil Hartman bit was good.
Mm. Oh, I just thought of one. Like, for some reason, this line, I don't even remember the episode, but it was right after Last Action Hero came out, and they were like at a party, and sorry, the cop, hello, was
Chief Wiggum.
Yeah, Wiggum was at the party, and Bart goes up and he sees McBain, and he's like, McBain, he's like, I'm your biggest fan. I love all your movies. They're all amazing. And Wiggum goes, yeah, except that last one, Magic Ticket, my ass, McBain. Like, for some reason, like, I was like, I was in high school, it killed me. Like, I would joke, I would quote that for like weeks and weeks and weeks.
We
And I
were-
love. There was one where they had to make at school they had to make the power plant, like a new power plant. They were redesigning it, and Ralph Wiggum, who's the best character in all of The Simpsons, comes on stage with just a Barbie funhouse just has like a power plant written on a piece of paper or something, and he just comes up and like stands there, and there's like silence for 6 seconds, and you don't even see him. You just hear Chief like in the background. He's like, "Get off the stage, sweetie. Get off the stage, honey." And he's just like, he just walks off the stage.
I remember when they do like the Lord of the Flies episode, I think, and he says, Bart's like, we'll be like the Swiss Family Robinson, but with more swearing. We'll live like kings. Damn hell ass kings. Oh,
That's pretty good.
this could go all day.
Yeah.
Cut us off.
Our next question comes in from Caesar
Oh
Villa.
wait.
Oh,
It's German for the Bart. The Bart. Never mind. Sorry, go.
hello, allies and traitor. Just kidding, Kyle. You know it, right? It's sad to see you go, but hey, one can always hope you eventually realize that what you're looking for is already had here. Anyway, how weird are things for you guys? My question for you is this: is there something that you've learned over this pandemia situation that we'd like to share with the world?
First of all, it's not what he's looking for. It's what he's trying to get away from.
Right.
It's us. We're the problem.
It's the fear.
Yeah.
Never underestimate how bad things can get, like globally. Like, I definitely, the Alexander Zirianov, shout out, who has already written a question in this Q&A, wrote into Cup of Jones and was like, well, why is EZX still happening? Why haven't you canceled it yet? And I was definitely like, well, I don't know. And like, he was the canary in the coal mine way before I even like considered that was an option. So, and have a contingency plan for everything. I mean, like, there's always different ways we can do things, but like have a straight up, all of this is canceled plan, which I've thought of before, but like maybe even invest in, maybe even like spend a little bit of money on the side just to like have that backup ready to go.
We had the plan, but we hadn't planned the entire beat for beat of the plan. But yeah.
To me, I learned that no matter how serious or bad things get, people will always just be making dumb jokes. Like, I'm very convinced that in the case of an alien invasion, people will just be like, the aliens look stupid. You know, they're like, people will be tweeting that.
Yep.
And then like, people will also be tweeting like, I'm very horny now. You know, like
Yep.
people will still be tweeting completely irrelevant things, even during the worst possible situations.
Like if cities
and
get taken out, people will be stoked that they have like more followers. You know, they'll be stoked that they're like, I'm still alive and on Twitter. Yeah. You know, like.
Yeah. I found something cool on Netflix. It's just basic. I think this is something I guess I always knew. Is just that the human race is really good at adapting to scenarios and just adjusting to things, and just a new thing becomes normal. It's still the case with a pandemic for sure.
The aliens look weird and I'm horny.
I think they're hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is not lighthearted, but I think it's hit me like a ton of bricks that like it doesn't take much to cause so much chaos. And like I think that just the eye-opening how fragile things seem in a way that makes you appreciate stuff a lot more, but also harrowing, I would suppose.
It is definitely, on the sad side of things, like it has definitely just like proven to new lows how much of a nightmare capitalist wasteland America is. Like the fact that people are worried more about the economy or like gouging prices for ventilators and stuff for a profit, it makes me like I wanted to like weep watching John Oliver the other day. It's like straight fucked. It's just pure evil, and I like can't handle it. VO friend of Amanda's came by just to like pop his head out of the car and wave and talk to us for a little bit, and he is a big boba fan. The drink boba, and he goes to this boba place and knows the owner, and he was like, I don't want this place to close. I don't think my like $5 a week is gonna like, or $10 a week is gonna change anything, but I feel like supporting local businesses. And he went by and the owner was like, actually this isn't like my main source of income. I actually just kind of do this. And he's like, so I'm mostly keeping this open to support my employees and to help pay them and stuff. And so it's like they're out there. They're not, certainly not the majority, but like there are some people that are still, there to support the people that work for them, including the, almost 9,000. We dipped a little below 9K now, but the 8,000 plus people on Patreon that are supporting us. Yeah. That's a big, big, big deal.
Definitely.
We're very lucky.
Definitely taught me not to take things for granted. I mean, but also you see like how some people really are and how people deal with the situation. Like I have a friend, like kind of like going on with Kyle, the way he's dealing with this is he just like makes memes because like laughter is the only way he gets through high stress situations. Like he needs to find a way to like laugh through it. And like, I get it. Like people are making memes. Like this is like, I'm going to read his recent one. Like it makes me giggle a bit, but like, it's nice to have a little bit of like laughter, but like, you're not laughing like at the horribleness of the situation. It's like, you're trying to share something with someone like a friend of yours just to like feel some kind of companionship. So like, I mean, the situation stinks. It's like roses are red, April's gray. The next time you leave your house and it's a picture of Justin Timberlake, it's gonna be I'm like, okay, one. That's like, okay, like I can take that. But like at the same time, like taking for granted part, like, you're stuck where you are and like things that maybe you didn't have to deal with before, you're like stuck with. And like, like this last week, it's like everyone's dealing with like horrible shit and stuff. And it's like this put extra stress on like people around you, like in close proximity, aren't making the situation like any better. Like it's like I cannot wait for things. I like want things to get back to normal. Just like because I miss being in person with the people I work with right here. But like being around things so much that like don't make me happy and stuff, like, and you're forced to now, it takes its like toll and it sucks. And it's like the only thing I can do is like I can go out of my car and drive, but like I can't go to places. Like I can drive around, but like you get out, like now you're part of the problem. So it's like it's just still another form of confinement. And I understand like it's gonna take a long time, but like at the same time, like the realistic part of me is like people are gonna go insane. Like in the next month, like you're gonna see people going insane and stuff. It's just gonna like like I don't think people can like live like this. It's gonna really suck. So sorry to be like negative and stuff, but like it just makes wanting to get back to like normalcy. So like take it seriously, I guess, is the message. So like the more people are proactive about it, the sooner we can try and like get this under control and go back to like the old way. And yeah, it sucks.
The thing that I'm scared of is that like just about America, like the states that are ignoring it, like whose governors aren't doing anything, like Florida or Texas or whatever, like by the time we're done quarantining, they're gonna all be sick and keep traveling. So it's just gonna keep it going, like start over and over. 2 memes I saw that were funny. One of them was someone who hides, like take notes, anyone who hides that they've got corona is definitely someone who would hide a zombie bite in the apocalypse.
Saw that. Agree. Love it.
And then my favorite one is it's just a picture of the dinosaurs with the meteor coming down. And then,
I saw that one.
And a T-Rex is just going, oh shit, the economy.
I saw one. Yeah, I saw Godzilla one, and it was like Godzilla's on the loose, run, and it's like yes, but the flu kills this many people every year. You know, but also Kyle, you know, along with the memes are literally just like a slice of life that is like one of the funniest things I've seen all year. And like I think my favorite video is just 30-second. If I don't know how you would look it up, I would maybe search "We Love Nando's" Nandos. Nandos, but it's this gal in the UK, I'm guessing the UK, and she's talking to her daughter and she's like, yeah, Nando's is closed, and the girl's like and she's like, yeah, KFC is closed, and the daughter's just she's like, you're gonna have to eat mommy's cooking now, and she's like this mom just torturing her little girl. It's pretty good. Very, very good.
Is that a video?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We love Nando's, it's closed. What about Chinese food? It's closed. Very good.
Our next question comes in from Asbo Zapruder. Good afternoon, allies. Last month I asked you for your earliest memories and or impressions of Kyle Bossman. Remember last month we were all so young and innocent and stores were full of toilet paper and pasta. Anyway, among the many things we learned since then is that Kyle will not be around for the rest of this little Q&A series of mine, which means that instead of all of you talking about Don Casanova, I am specifically asking for Kyle's earliest memories and or impressions of Don Casanova and Michael Damiani, Bradley Ellis, Ian Hink, Michael Huber, Brandon Jones, and Ben Moore.
Okay, we can go in that order. Don Casanova, earliest memory, so he's in an editing bay at Viacom during the Viacom days of game trailers. I remember, so I guess my earliest memory of him is that I guess Anton's out or something. Anton's busy, and so Don is going to edit an episode of The Final Bossman. And I'm like, is this guy funny enough? Because you know what I knew him as? I knew him as the editor for Damiani for Pop Fiction. I think it was like his main thing at the time. And so I was really concerned that Don wouldn't be funny enough to edit an episode of Final Bossman. And so it's fun to intimately just sit next to somebody during like an editing session and he totally gets it. And you feel very comfortable with this person going forward and pitching jokes too. He ended up editing one of my favorite episodes of Final Bossman, which was this 2015 finale, where I'm talking to my future child. That one's a really, really fun episode. So yeah. My first impression was this first, like sitting down with Don and having to edit an episode of Final Bossman. Me terrified that he doesn't get humor. But he wasn't like known as a funny person at that point, I think.
That's his power.
He's a man of mystery.
We didn't like include him in a lot of bits or anything. It was, not even on Mandatory Update, I feel like, was Don really like prevalent at that point.
Well, what's funny is because he's such a genius, like a comedic genius, but he's like shy, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to get him to do it.
We did our like Easy X 4th anniversary video that we put up like before the stream, and he's hilarious. Like, it's like, oh, thanks, Don, for the video. I expect it to be some quick thing, and he's like talking about his cat's bad breath and like, oh, it's amazing.
He definitely undervalues himself a lot. And when we all know, he's so great, and he like downplays himself, that can be frustrating just because he is so good.
Yeah.
Was the next one Damiani?
Damiani.
Okay. First memory of Damiani. So I sat diagonal to Damiani, across with Bloodworth, and then Bloodworth sat next to Damiani. No, sat next to Patrick Morales, who then sat next to Damiani. Damiani had a bunch of cool, stupid toys on his desk. But I did know him as pop fiction creator. And I think early on, maybe week 1, understood him to be behind the Zelda timeline, which before working at Game Trailers is my favorite Game Trailers video. Timeline didn't exist at that one point, but it was the final episode of the retrospective, which kind of dropped all the rules of what retrospectives were. And it's just like, now we're going to make an episode about Damiani's theory about the Zelda timeline, but without saying so, right?
Here comes Brandon. Here comes Jones.
Damiani.
That was not Damiani?
That was my earliest
correction.
That was my earliest Damiani memory, because like this, not only is this my earliest Damiani memory, I'm going to steal your thunder. This is Damiani, like framed Damiani.
Sure.
Damiani very politely comes up to me right after he starts working at Game Trailers, and he was like, and he's like, let's do a retrospective. And he's like, I'd like to do Metal Gear. And I was like, oh, great. And he's like, just FYI, I saw your Zelda retrospective, and I would like to redo that. I was like, okay.
I would like to redo that.
Your timeline episode of that was interesting. Okay. All right.
So when did you produce the timeline?
2006.
That was in fall of 2012.
Yeah, that was definitely after
when it
you
came out.
Okay, so maybe it was that because
video.
Damiani, I remember you having many arguments with Miguel leading up to doing it, where he would say, I don't think anyone wants to watch this video. This makes no sense. This script is too long. And then you would explain why the timeline video needed to be made. I remember this happening frequently, not just 1 or 2 meetings, but maybe 5 or 6. And the door would be open and you two would just bicker at each other about the Zelda timeline.
They used to use their whiteboard to try and illustrate stuff about why it wouldn't work.
Oh man, that whiteboard was legendary.
So
there's some like hidden lore of GT on that whiteboard.
I think it was that. I think it was maybe hearing those things that gave me. I think Damiani was one of the first people I included in bonus bits of Final Bossman, where I'm like, I think he could do a funny thing. And so I think it's one of maybe the first 10 episodes where Damiani is pointing at how many views the Crash Bandicoot Pop Fiction got, and that's where the whole Damiani meta rivalry began. Is just that one episode, and Damiani was willing to do it. I was so stoked. I was like, will you do this comedy bit? He's just like, you don't have to say any words, you just have to point at this thing. He's like, okay. Yeah, it was really, really fun. All right, who was the next person?
Bradley Ellis.
Okay, so there's a lot of overlap with Huber and Brad because I saw them for the first time at the same time. It was a Game Trailers Film Festival.
All right.
Did not have a good first impression of Brad there. Like I couldn't, if you asked me after that night, like who was next to Huber, I would be, I don't know, some guy. So let's start with Huber then. Huber's first impression was not positive because it's just like, hey, like, can we talk to Jeff Keighley? And I was just like, I hate this guy. Like, I was like, my first impression of Huber is just like, he's energetic. He's looking to shake hands at the end of the GT Film Festival and like meet people. And I feel like at that point, he had already hooked up a PA position or something. I feel like someone's just like, hey, he's going to be a PA on Monday. I'm like, how did this kid, what? And so like, and he was like an intern the next week or something like that, or the next semester immediately after that GT Film Festival. But I guess it was through working on projects with Huber, getting to know him way better, his enthusiasm, but like willingness, his eagerness, and I would say a lack of ego was really appealing about Huber immediately. And I think that helped a ton. And so then my first impression of Brad is Huber brought him by during the Viacom days. Huber tried to get Brad hired for a while. It took a long time for us to actually get a position for Brad where he could be a PA. And it took until the Defy days. And similarly, I was like, why are we hiring this guy? And actually, so day one, Brad, we put him on the Final Bossman, and he messed up this cue like 10 times in a row.
I remember that.
He just had to hand me a piece of paper off screen. It was just a hand coming into frame from off screen, and he kept doing it in the worst possible time. And like, Brad, it's after I say, will you please? He's like, okay. So I'm like, okay. And I'm just talking to Activision, and a piece of paper comes in. I'm like, Brad, wait for me to say, will you please?
It's a good bit.
That
He was so flustered because he was nervous. It was his first day.
He was nervous. He'd never acted before. I remember he was so nervous. But in the moment, both Kyle and I were just like, just do the thing after he says this thing. That's all you have to do.
Yeah. And it took a sec. It definitely took maybe like 1 week for me to like get accustomed to Brad and then like truly accept Brad. But then it was like fast. It was a fast turnover of like, oh, I understand this guy. I understand where he's coming from. And we can make jokes with each other. Okay, so who was after Brad?
Ian.
First memory of Ian. It's weird. I thought for a long time, Ian, I thought you and John Santo were related for some reason. So I don't know why. You two were like buddies, editor buddies, and would like share jokes a lot. And John Santo, he did a lot of edits. I did a lot of editing with him. Maybe he took over after Anton for Final Bossman. I think we did. Anyway, we would share jokes a lot. And then, so basically knew Ian through working with John Santo, another edit. Game Trailers used to have a lot of editors, it should be
14,
said.
14, I think.
Yeah, so like you didn't get to know everybody really unless you worked with them directly. And so when did I learn that Ian was funny? I thought Ian was cool way before Ian was funny. You had like a lot of like sexy photographs around your computer.
I don't think any of them were sexy.
Yeah, I feel like you would have like models. You would have like sexy models, but also like this is album art, and also this is a photograph I took.
I mean, they were all something. I've never subscribed. I've never subscribed to like.
No, I'm pretty sure there were beach babes on your wall.
God damn it!
Yeah.
While you were editing,
Yeah.
the top 10 video game boobs video.
Yeah,
I did have to edit a lot of
like
those
Metal
videos.
Gear posters, yeah.
But it was like, I don't think it was until Mandatory Update where I realized Ian was funny too. Well, I don't know. Did we do Not Funny GT before then? I don't even know if we did that.
I think those were before. Yeah.
So maybe it was around then. It was basically understanding Ian through Elise. Is like, oh, okay, Ian is not just like cool. Ian is also funny. And I think Jeremy Hoffman had asked me to do the Mandatory Update show, like help out a lot more with it. And I was like, no, just let Ian and Elise do it, knowing that you two could handle that. And obviously I was in the writer's room with Justin Spear. Remember Justin Spear would write jokes too?
Yeah. His were always really like bizarre and I loved them.
Yeah, they were good jokes. A lot of them were long.
Yeah, they were really good.
Yeah, so that was cool too. A very different first impression to understanding. Who do we have left?
I think this person might have forgotten to include blood, so let's get blood in there real quick.
Oh, that's because I did blood.
I think because we did this earlier.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Bloodworth was the racing game, and I was like, you get to be a guy named Bloodworth in this
My
game?
bad.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
All right, then next we have Brandon.
Okay. So Brandon, I didn't understand what this guy did for a long time. I didn't. I had watched a lot of Game Trailers videos, a lot of reviews and the retrospectives and everything. So I knew I was looking for the guy who was the voice for a long time, and I didn't think it was Jones. And so
a lot of people still don't today.
Yeah.
Like people
Today,
posted,
someone thought it was
Keely's
Keely,
back.
right?
Yeah. And so he was just this guy who has this really nice office all to himself, with like these really cool things in there. And he just kind of he doesn't get told what to do. And I was like, what is this guy's deal? What is, well, like you get into a new office, right? And you're trying to analyze everyone. It's like, what is this guy's angle? What is
see Hoffman just on the phone all the time, and you go into my room. I'm just like playing 3DS. Like.
Yeah, it's like, what is?
There were a good couple of years where I too was just like, what is Jones' job? What does he do?
I was playing World of Warcraft, like.
Mm-hmm. And so I don't remember what I learned he was the voice, and I remember. Man, I was shy to ask Jones even to do the podcast, to do GT time. And so I don't remember when I became very familiar with Jones. Maybe it was through doing a weekly podcast with him. Yeah, that was funny, honestly. I was having discussions with Damiani. I was like, hey, I want to have a permanent cast of 4 for the podcast. I want it to be the same 4 people every week. And we're like, okay, we can get Bloodworth. As like, can we get Jones? It was like, we weren't sure Jones would say yes. And Damiani's like, it can't hurt to try. So I was like, okay, I'll try to get Jones to do this podcast every week. And yeah, obviously I think it was hugely beneficial. It was cool. But
you
yeah.
didn't do GT time until Defy, right?
No, it was at Viacom.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Where did we shoot GT time at Viacom?
All over the place. We had like an empty room and somebody's empty
Remember that
office.
room? Yeah. The office at the
And
end
didn't
on
we
the
have
left
to
side.
Didn't we have
Yeah.
to like set it up and tear it down every time?
Oh, it was so annoying. Yeah.
Ugh. Same with mandatory
Dude,
updates.
that's
God, that was
gone
the
from my brain.
worst.
I gotta
Yeah.
look that up.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the first, because I remember the studio downstairs that we
I
set
gotta
up,
look up old GT time.
but I'm pretty sure that was still Invisible Walls days.
Yeah.
And it was so funny because we set up that studio and then immediately Viacom was like, "Oh, we can charge you time for this." And like, what? But it's ours. We get charged time. What?
Yeah.
It comes out of our budget for using the room that we put stuff in that was not being used before.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, we made it like desirable.
Yeah.
Like,
This whole closet is now a studio that we have to like bid for.
Pay for.
And what sucked on top of that is we had a studio on the floor,
Yeah.
a fully functional studio, but they turned that into 2 more editing bays.
yeah.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, they were kicking us out of there. That back
Yeah.
corner room. Yeah.
Yeah, it sucked. But in the end, the proper financial decision for Viacom, the corporation, I get it. Still hurt.
Was to offload us for stock options and a website that was defunct to a company that was a scam.
Mhm.
Nah.
Yeah, I mean, like, what else were they going to do with us?
Yeah. We were bleeding chips since day one.
Facebook creeps us out. GT time episode 3.
Oh, we definitely
Pop-
weren't bleeding chips from
Gonna
day
pop
one.
that baby open. Save it for later.
That
Nice,
was
Johnson.
yeah, that was
Fine
when
wine.
ad blocker came up that we started bleeding.
Um,
Before that, we were like the one success story that Viacom had out of all of their online
Nebulous online things.
I think though the first time that I actually like truly understood Jones is Defy days, because yeah, even throughout Viacom, it's not like I would consider us friends at that point.
Buttons, baby.
Buttons, you're right. Buttons was huge.
Buttons was massive.
I knew Jones wanted to do puppets, and so that was that back at Viacom, even Jones. But it was you and I had very fancy steaks when we were on a PAX trip.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
It was
We
just
went
you
to-
and me, and you
Yeah,
bought
we went
me,
to that with seafood place.
Yeah, you bought me this incredible little pork chop steak. And you said a line that I like wrote down on my phone. It was so funny. It was something that like we were talking about how you sold game trailers to MTV and just became, wealthy. And you're like, yeah, I'm not very wealthy, Kyle, but I'm in a good spot where I don't have to care about anything. And I'm like, cool.
Viacom.
Like, this guy's cool. I get it.
Trying to get back there.
Yeah.
I'm trying real hard.
I know.
Okay. Those are the good old days.
I don't know if you would buy me a fancy little steak today. Yeah,
No,
it's weird.
I'll buy you a steak anytime, Kyle, but it's not gonna be fancy.
Yeah.
Was that was a different time because you, me, and Jones had a fun dinner at the Pink Door in Seattle. That was a
Yeah.
different year, I think.
Mm-hmm. That
Yeah,
was the
the-
next year, yeah.
Yeah, that was the next year. That was a really fun meal too.
Yeah, dude,
It's,
those are weird times.
Hmm.
What's funny about my first memory of Ben is it's one that he already shared where he was staying late one night and playing Zelda Skyward Sword. And this was a time when nobody would give Skyward Sword a chance. Everybody hated it because it was motion controls. And Ben was doing it not for any project or anything. He was legitimately this kid out of college who just wanted to play through every Zelda game. And I thought this was the coolest thing. And he was giving Skyward Sword a chance, and he really liked parts of it. And so you got a good idea of Ben's, I wouldn't call it a work ethic, but like video game adoration, right? Just he appreciates video games as a whole. And so I quickly like understood who Ben was just in that one night. It was a late night evening, and had a really good conversation with him. And yeah, again, like you have one of those conversations and then you're willing to ask people to do comedy bits. You're like, oh, okay, I know this guy can talk to Buttons. and there was a really good Buttons episode where he's talking to Ben. You know, it's like so that stuff just works really well.
I think the first Button things I did, Kyle, and I don't remember it very well, but like it was like making fun of game journalism. I think I don't remember the exact context, but
very possible. And you asked him if he's gonna cry. I think you asked Buttons if he's gonna cry.
I love how quick the whole office turns on Buttons. It's awesome. It's really great. It's fun to revisit Buttons and like see how much Ryan Stevens just did not want to do that.
Yeah.
You can feel it in every shoot. Good job, Huber, also with Buttons.
Yeah.
What did Huber do with Buttons? He was sentimental.
He bookended it. You know,
Yeah.
like he was in the first episode and the last one.
Yeah.
My friend Buttons.
You were the one who did not turn on Buttons. Yeah.
And he did the one. They were playing a fighting game together too, and he was like, "I won." Huber's like, "No, man, you didn't win." He's like, "I won." All right.
All right.
Yeah.
that was really fun hearing all those stories.
Yeah. Sorry, that was 6 minutes of me talking, but yeah,
No,
it's fun.
was
Worth it.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Our next question comes in from Varun. What was the last thing that made you smile, or what comes to mind?
My boy. My little boy.
What'd your boy do?
My little boy. He's just. You know what? It's like our new thing. No, this is our new thing that never fails to make me crack me up. When he was born, he looks like he does now, just super, super tiny. When he was like 4 months to 6 months, he was like, like the Godfather. Like he's just cheeks like. And so like Amanda every now and then will just find some picture from 4 months and hold it up and like I'll spit my food out. It's the funniest thing. Like it's like, who the hell is that? Like I didn't live with that thing. I don't know what that is. So like we just texted my brother and I'm just like, who the hell's this guy? And like my brother just texts back like dying. Like this is so fun. You put like a mustache on him and he's like, you asked me this on the day of my daughter's wedding. It's like those are good to revisit.
Put an orange slice in his mouth.
Yeah. Mm.
Technically, we've all smiled during this Q&A.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Shout
the
out
last
to
time.
Huber fondling the N64 though. That one's gonna stick with me for sure.
Reset button. Really good.
He's being very sensitive with that though, which I really love too.
It's a very nice button.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get it.
Buttons.
Yeah, I guess, like I'm always smiling anyways, but I feel like
That Bloodworth always smiling.
Was it like a weird like blood brag? Like, I'm always smiling.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Always smiling.
That's his
Always
secret.
smiling. We should get smile. That should be one of our. We were talking about emotes, man. Easy smiling blood. Just blood like.
Smug Blood is
Right
smiling.
there it is.
He's
Smug
grinning.
Blood is
It is,
smiling.
right.
Yeah,
It is a
he's-
smile. Yep.
all of his emotes are already smiling.
But no, this morning it was just it was funny because I just like put in a request last night for Ben to get Disaster Report 4, and the contact wrote back and he's like, I've been watching like you guys' videos a lot. It's been getting me through this time. I was like, I did not expect to hear that because like I have barely talked to this guy. It's just one of my contact lists. So.
That's very cool.
Yeah, I was thinking about it honestly. It was when I had to shoot that dumb video where we had to talk to our audience. Is that I laugh more during one-on-one, just solo live streams than I do like watching TV. Like playing video games with chat is funnier to me than like watching a comedy on TV, which is really weird.
One-on-one meaning by yourself or with someone?
Solo streaming, just from my own apartment
solo
on Friday nights is what I mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like who the hell is that? Who is that?
That's Dom DeLuise.
It's a cute little baby.
It kind of is Don Billy.
Like, who the...
I don't feel comfortable mocking the physical appearance of your child, Jones.
Who's that?
I'm like, I don't like this.
Wait,
Who is that?
that's the babies. That's the baby mask from the end of Brazil,
Right?
and the enemies in Silent Hill 4.
Who is this guy?
I guess I don't necessarily want to turn this into a YouTube recommendation thing, but Blood, when you were like, somebody said that they were watching us to get through stuff, it just made me think of the people that I watch, because I don't watch us. I just want to give a shout out to Mighty Keef. Like, that guy is so funny. I love the videos that he does. He's like he does comedy bits, but he plays Smash and he plays other fighting games, and he just does some of the funniest shit with them.
Mighty Keith?
Yeah, Mighty Keef. I am Mighty Keef. He's very, very funny.
And it was a
Kyle,
T or an F?
Sounds like an F.
It's Keef, I believe.
Okay.
But Kyle, I really think you'd like him.
I'm in.
I've been watching Mr. Sunday Movies, and of course, Red Letter Media.
Yeah, Red Letter Media.
Those are the only YouTube things besides synth stuff that I watch. Oh, and those pitch meetings. I think those are kind of funny.
I've been watching The Greatest American Hero. It's all on YouTube. There's a YouTube channel that's every episode of The Greatest American Hero.
What is that?
It's a show about a guy who gets a magical suit from aliens that gives him the ability to fly. William Catt is just flying around, and he's terrible at flying. It's every time he takes off, it's just green screen of him like like flying around. He's a very bad superhero. That's the joke.
Got it.
Every Frame of Painting is great, but they stopped like years ago.
Another good Simpsons reference. That's the joke.
That's the joke. The goggles do nothing. Up and at them.
Our next question comes in from Michael. Hello, Easy Allies. Do you think we're going to see Final Fantasy XVI this year?
No.
This year?
No.
See it. Not release it, but see it.
Not see it. No.
0%.
No.
Zero.
No.
Zip.
No.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll say yes.
0%.
Yeah. I think they're going to try to push hard on next gen excitement.
You will see the director's cut / remaster of Final Fantasy VII Remake before 16.
Director's cut? You mean like 2/3 of the game?
Man.
Like what? What would the director's cut
like
be?
a PS5 remaster version is basically what I'm saying.
The thing is, okay, here's the thing. Like my line of thinking is, it's way too soon. But then it's Square Enix.
Yeah.
And then it's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They announced that thing.
When has
20
Final
years
Fantasy
out.
not been shown way too soon?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That
they're
game
totally
won't
gonna
be
put
ready for 6 years, but they'll show it.
They're totally because remember 7 is the year of exclusivity, so I feel like at least a year minimum until you even see 16. They have to get the other versions out of 7.
They don't mind, Tuber. Historically, they'll let you be excited for 3 more games after the game you're playing.
Yeah.
So help me with Final Fantasy. It's like it was like Stinley's song. You know what I mean? It was like the PS4 launch. They had this like in-engine demo where there's like these
Agnes
mages.
Philosophy.
Thank you, John.
Suck it, Damiani.
I thought it was a bit for a second. I was like, what?
Please release Final Fantasy Stijny's song. I love
But the thing
it.
is, Jones got there. He got there from that.
Yeah.
Agnes Philosophy. Will we ever see that again? Like, is that going to become 16, or is that just a thing?
Intended to not be a game, and then
Yeah.
the reaction made it sound like they were thinking about it. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's.
I mean, that was just luminous demonstration.
Yeah.
But they put Final Fantasy in the title. You know what I mean? Like, it could have
Oh, of
just
course
been
they
here's a Square Enix demo.
I don't know.
right?
It was
But
like one of the coolest things they'd shown off conceptually for Final Fantasy, but
Yeah, I wonder if they'll do something like that again.
I think they'd
I
probably
do
a
want to
lot of
see.
those.
I do want to see another confusing Square Enix engine demo for the PS5 though.
At
for
least
sure.
that, yeah. At
Yeah,
least
yeah.
that, please.
It was like that Link Ganon fight that we still haven't gotten. You know, however many, like a decade later, like still waiting on that fight.
Our next write-in, I see write-in. This is not a question, but this is from MGSJ. It's a quote. We've all got both light and dark inside of us. What matters is the part we choose to act on. Attributed to Sirius Black.
Yeah, that was a
Let
line
that
of
be a lesson,
Harry.
Kyle.
Let that be a lesson, Kyle. The wolf you feed, Bloodworth.
I remember that scene. It's when Harry's freaking out. He thinks there's something wrong with him. He thinks he's gonna be evil. He thinks
And
Those
there
are good,
is.
baby.
he thinks
Those,
he's gonna become the Dark Prince.
those books are so good.
Our next question comes in from Tim M. Hey, allies, favorite fight sequence / scene from anything?
Wow.
It's a tough
Old boy
question.
hallway comes to mind first.
I really like the subway from The Matrix, man. That scene is so just the subway, just
Yeah.
just him
Good.
getting up, shaking it off, and being
When he-
like, "Come
when he-
here," you know. That
When
build,
he throws throws
so
the
well.
pickles in his eyes, really good.
And then he
Thanos,
runs at the end of it.
Endgame.
Like, so good. My
Endgame.
name.
Maybe not the best, but giving respect since it's now canceled. The Daredevil hallway fight,
Oh
that
yeah.
extended
No
shot
way,
one.
dude. The
They're
one
aping
with
old boy. They're faking
No,
it. There are cuts
the-
in that.
the one with
What's the other one I'm trying to think
fight.
of?
The one with
Huber?
Bullseye, dude. The one with Bullseye in,
That
the,
one,
in
yeah,
the last
thank-
season was ridiculous.
Those
best
Daredevil fights
in-
though were just good.
Yeah, dude. Oh,
The,
that one was
Gonna miss
so
him.
good.
Gonna
With
miss
the
him.
pencils.
Yeah, gonna miss them.
The entire second half of 13 Assassins is god tier, like flawless, just insane 45-minute fight. Oh wait, they live.
Luke and Vader at the end of Return
Wait.
of the Jedi.
They live. The fight in the alley.
Yeah.
They live.
Yeah, sure.
Just trying to get him to put sunglasses
That's like a
on.
quarter of the film.
And they fight for 20 straight minutes.
There's a good scene in The Protector where Tony Jaa in one take fights people going up the stairs all the way, and it's like a good 10
I remember
minutes.
The-
He's
That's
like
really
throwing
good.
people off and shit.
You can't shoot me, no, you can't shoot me fight from the end of Equilibrium. Where it's just a lot of hand slapping.
Gun kata, baby.
Yeah.
I think a lot of Terminator 1 is still like pretty terrifying. Like some of the chase sequences when Terminator goes into the police station. I dig it.
Lance Henriksen hype.
Wait, Zizek talked about the fight scene from They Live? That's so funny.
For me, it's this kitchen fight in the Raid 2, where I love when your protagonist is just Huber, that part where they just calm down, they get their stances figured out. They're using all these kitchen utensils to just stab each other. It's just both people are clearly hurt. They're just ready to die, both of them, but they're just fighting to fight. Really, really good fight sequence.
I thought Civil War ended really well. I love that last Iron Man Cap fight. I thought that was really cool.
It's so sad, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because it's so sad, you know.
Yeah.
And the Black Panther moment right after it, where Black Panther's just like, "I'm smarter than all of you idiots," you know. Like, I was just, Civil War, I really, really, really like. Like Winter Soldier's better, but like, Civil War was.
Just the shield in the chest. That just like.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
When Winter Soldier's like trying to rip the reactor out, like,
Yeah.
so epic.
Yep. What?
And shout
I
out
was
to
just
Jackie
gonna
Chan
say,
doing anything.
Raiden versus Armstrong.
Count it.
Yeah, speaking of Jackie Chan, the 2-on-1 and Who Am I has got to be one of my all-time favorites. It's the
Oh.
most anime inspired because he fights one at a time and then he beats them both individually, so they team up to take him out. So good.
I mean, if we're crossing that video game threshold, Dante v Virgil, all day, every day.
Dude, as a kid, the live action Ninja Turtles movie, Shredder versus the Turtles, like they like get decimated. This is like, as a kid, it was the most horrifying thing. I was like, oh no, you're
Splinter,
gonna die.
dude.
And then Splinter just like
Mind games.
the Splinter meta.
Dude, I love that Shredder has like a freaking spear,
I
dude.
know.
It's so intense.
I was so scared.
Good question.
Our next one comes in from Brandon White. Hello, allies. This month, it's not a question, but just a thank you to Kyle. Ever since I first saw you on Final Boss Man on GT, I've enjoyed your personality and humor. You have been such a great host for the podcast and always made it such a blast to watch. I've always enjoyed your takes on the Pokemon series because we both share such a big love for the franchise. I'm going to miss your brand of humor, and I'm sad I never got a chance to meet you as an ally, but I hope maybe one day I will get a chance to meet you. Thank you so much for the countless laughs and joy you've brought me over the years. Best of luck to you with whatever you decide to do in the future, and I hope you can try to find what you're looking for. If you are still deciding on a place to settle down, why not come give Denver a try? Haha.
Can I be real with you? Colorado looks good. When
High
I
elevation, but it's dope.
Yeah, when I consider like, hey, I could live anywhere on the planet, right? Like, where do you really want to go to? I gotta say, Colorado ranks high. I really like it there.
My bro lived there for a while.
What do you think?
Loved it, dude.
Okay.
There's he lived in Boulder because he went to school there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of snow, so he had like his WRX rally car, snow, and he would snowboard a lot.
Yeah.
But you're from back east, so that's like no big drama.
Dude,
to
yeah,
you.
I miss skiing big time.
Yeah.
Also, Kyle's too nervous to say this, but he told me this in private that after he leaves these yalis, he's really eager to meet people. So if you see Kyle in public, make sure you go over and say hi. And the thing is, it really doesn't matter like what if he's changing a tire, if he's injured in some way.
Yeah.
Like if you're like in a dentist office and he's literally getting oral surgery, just get in there, give him a nudge on the shoulder, and just let him know how much you like him.
And if it
welcome,
seems
Kyle.
like he wants you to go, that's just him being polite for your time. He actually wants you to stay around him for a very long time.
And we know this because we've worked with him for so long. Like you don't get to see that, on camera. But
yeah, like most of a day, hang around him. I got a friend who lives in Colorado. You should check it out.
Our next question comes in from Robert Lee. Hey, allies. Hope you're keeping well during this unique period. What are some of your favorite films you've seen this year?
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Parasite.
Parasite, yeah.
That was last year.
I'm pretty sure I saw it this year. Time
I'll
is
say
weird.
Parasite if it counts for this year.
Oh, dude, have you seen the special effects from Parasite? Have you like kind of dived into that? How they like what was a special effect in that movie?
No, but it sounds
Like
awesome.
way more than you think.
Yeah, that house like wasn't there.
Yeah.
That house is a big old set. Like the sky wasn't there, the roof wasn't there. Like
Oh, cool.
their whole street was just that was a set. The whole thing. Like
Well, that makes sense. Never mind. Spoilers, but yeah.
right. But I just didn't think about it. Film major just didn't. They got me, and like that's really saying something.
Yeah, you see that movie and you're like, wow, cool house. And then
Invisible Man.
Yeah. I heard that was okay.
I watched all of Castlevania last week. That was pretty fun.
Yes,
Oh yeah, I got like
Kyle.
2
Was that
episodes
this
left.
year?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, dude, that's the best
season
thing by
season
a
3
mile.
is this year.
yeah. Season 3 is this year.
Dude, yes.
I need to see Invisible Man. I really want to see it.
Cats.
It's on whatever. Oh yeah, Cats was a life-changing experience. I just subscribed to the Criterion channel. So hopefully I'm going to catch up on my oldies.
Cool. Is that a streaming service?
Yeah.
How much?
I paid for the year, so it was $100.
Save for local audio.
What's Omar telling us about?
But watch this on TV. I haven't seen a lot of
He's
movies,
doing
man.
something.
He's troubleshooting.
Our next question comes in from Alex L. Hello, allies. I'd like to start off by giving a huge shout out to Kyle and Jones for the Silver Squad stream, and an extra special thanks to Jones for making the 4-hour supercut. Pokemon Silver is extremely nostalgic for me, and its soundtrack can bring me to tears. Do any of you have a video game soundtrack that can make you cry due to nostalgia?
BioShock. Suck it.
Dude, that out the gate.
Made me cry in my chair in my fancy office at Game Trailers.
Yeah, right.
Somebody came in and they were like, oh, I think it was Blood, because it's classic Blood with soundtracks. He just like popped in, he was like, BioShock soundtracks, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm really excited about that game. I'm curious what the soundtrack is. And like 40 seconds into the first track, I got misty.
Play it right now and cry. I dare you. Cry for me.
We can wait. We'll wait.
That's a
Yeah,
show
play
right
it.
there. Cry for me is a show.
Play it right now and cry to the BioShock soundtrack.
But don't try to cry. Don't try.
Yeah.
Pre-roll.
Oh, great.
Final Fantasy IX, though, for me.
I think Chrono Cross is still up there. It's interesting how every once in a while I'll get a vein of something that I hear in a new game that reminds me of something from the Chrono Cross soundtrack.
The soundtracks to Dear Esther and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, I just love them. They're so good.
Yeah.
The theme for Life is Strange 2, it's called Into the Woods. It
Get to the tree line.
fucking destroys me every time.
Hello, can you guys hear me now?
Game's not even out yet.
I mean,
MGS1
yeah,
for me.
it's a good
Nice.
one. I mean, Final Fantasy VII, and then they like the remake. Every other time I listen to the Prelude theme, especially when I'm alone, definitely cry. Took every ounce of emotional fortitude not to shed tears when I was playing it with Huber on Mike and Mike, I was like, I'm not crying. I'm like, I actually was like, I'm tuning this out. I'm tuning
Cry
this
for
out.
me,
I'm not
Dami.
crying, not crying, dude.
I'll cry in front of you, dude.
I'll save it for the full playthrough. I'll like when they
Excellent.
does the credits, I'll let it out.
I've seen
Excellent.
Huber
I'll
cry.
let it
Wait,
out.
Yeah.
Can I issue a request? Can you cry while pressing the reset button in the N64? Could you do that for me?
I'm trying to cry here, Ben.
Do you have like an OnlyFans account where I could sign up
is this like-
and you could do
is this your
that
kink?
request specifically?
It's messed up.
Name a better reset button. I'll wait. Name a better one.
We already said Super Nintendo, which is a
Super Nintendo.
No, see,
Yeah.
I like that as a power button.
The GameCube,
power-
the round little button, and it like kind of like presses in
Good pick.
softly.
yeah. Good
All right,
pick for
all right,
GameCube.
all right. An evolution of the N64.
That's
Still.
true.
I have two reasons I cannot cry while looking at all of you. It's impossible. I
Give
will
us
cry
time.
I will cry not looking at Kyle. After Kyle leaves, I will cry. But I have two reasons why that makes me cry. One is violin, and violin is just a punishing instrument when done well. And two, to me, the BioShock soundtrack is about failed ambition, and that's something that always gets me. Just when somebody tries to make something beautiful and it ends up hurting people.
Whoa.
That to me is deep, and that's like why I was excited about that game. Just to see like how all of this crumbled. And so like that
Ken
first
Levine's
track is-
vision, you mean?
Here we go.
Boom!
Ah,
Wow.
that was good. That
10
was
points. 10 points to
But
Griffin.
yeah.
No,
all
Jones-
three of those soundtracks are super impressive.
Yeah,
I'm, like,
sincerely,
so
I get it
loud.
now. Thank you.
Dude,
And there's
Kyle's
a little scary.
slithering
That's, just like a little. There's some creepy vibes in there too. So I loved so much about it.
10 points to Slytherin, you mean, Jones?
Yeah, I'm Slytherin.
Chat, if you haven't looked it up, backtrack composing BioShock and composing BioShock Infinite. They should still be out there floating around.
Does Ken Levine talk about his crumbling vision?
No, I didn't talk to Ken.
Okay.
Ken doesn't talk to
You'll
people
have to
like
do
us.
you'll have to do
I
a
talked to the
remaster.
composers. Yeah.
Man, I
What's
feel
funny
like
is I actually kind of talked to the composer without the team knowing, and so I ran into some like weird difficulties kind of towards the end of that production. But
Look at blood.
Wow.
Shady blood.
Friction, dude.
Shady blood.
because I was working through the composer's PR. I wasn't
Mhm.
working
Yeah.
through 2K.
I don't know why, but more than I think any other ally, Kyle cracking up makes me crack up no matter what. Just
Kyle trying not to crack up is one of the funniest
That's
things.
yeah, that's a thing.
Our next question comes in from MDogX. Hi, allies. After watching the Gundam streams and seeing some amazing Mega Man X model kits, there are Mega Man X model kits. I'm interested in getting into model building. To the Gundam
Yeah.
crew, how did you get started with building models?
It appeared in a mall. It was a Gundam Death Scythe in a little box, and I was unaware that Gundam models even existed, but it was exactly everything that I wanted to build my own Gundam. And I got, you know what? It was Gundam Death Scythe Hell, because you had the samurai helmet. Man, that thing was so sick. You buy one and you're just like, I'm set for life. And then you go to high school and you're like, I'm not like that. Or sorry, you go to college and you're like, I'm not like that anymore. And then you start this thing called Easy Allies, where your nerdiest inclinations, your nerdiest inclinations are just like supported, and you're like, oh, I should do this for a career now. And then like you have the best time building Gundams as a profession.
Kyle, I almost have the exact same story. I was in a Toys R Us and I just saw Gundam models and I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And they looked amazing. Like the boxes are just the sickest things ever.
Great art on the boxes.
And I was really, really into Gundam Wing. I was obsessed with Gundam Wing. And Heavy Arms was my favorite Gundam. And they had a Heavy Arms Gundam and I got that. And then just went from there and kept building and got a lot of cool things. So, yeah. But
Hubert, I built a statue out of the Predator back in the day. I built two statues back in the day, Indiana Jones and the Predator. And I was so excited about the Predator that I like opened it up and I was like, all right, here we go. And all of his dreadlocks were like each an individual thing that you had to like glue onto what specific part of his head.
Whoa.
And I was like, all right, here we go. And I was just like, snap, 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 snap. And then I was like, all right, check the instructions. And they're like, each of them are labeled by number. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I've removed all of them from. And so I like looked at each like strand of hair and was like, that kind of looks like that. I guess I'll just wing it.
Tell me you still
You'll
have
them
that.
all flow.
Yeah,
Oh,
where
hell
is
no.
it?
Oh, no, it was high school. It was
Oh,
90s. It was the
okay.
90s,
Alright.
man. They're gone.
Okay.
Gone. I mean, my parents might have it somewhere. Did paint them. I was surprised. I was like, these aren't painted already?
Ooh, I hate the ones you gotta paint.
You got to
Yeah,
go to a
that's tough.
hobby shop and get the. I was like, nah, I'm not painting it. They're statues.
When I never did model building, really. I've done a few, but we did. We would paint Warhammer figures as kids, like 20K or whatever, 40K. I mean,
I still want to do that. I still want to do that someday. I've never done it. Next question comes in from James. Would you rather have the new gen consoles come out this year with a weak starting lineup of games due to delays, or have them come out next year with a strong lineup of games?
Sooner.
Week.
Next year.
Give me that week lineup.
it
Yeah, give me-
depends. It depends on when. Like, if we have to wait for holiday 2021, then that sucks. But if it's like March,
There have been like 3 strong launch lineups in the history of video games.
right? If
So
that.
it's like, what? You know, that's not gonna throw me. You know.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a good launch lineup, I feel like.
Yeah. It was like Wii Sport. It was all Nintendo. Like,
Yeah.
No, it was the PS2, the Wii, and the 64. That was it.
I'd give it to Switch, obviously.
Switch, yeah.
Oh, and the Switch, right?
64 is a weird pick.
Yeah, the 64 is weird.
Because, like, yes, it had Mario 64, but then it had Pilot Wings, and that was it.
Well,
were
64 was all you
only
needed.
games.
Blood, look at the list. Look at the Hologreats. How many of those are launch titles? That thing launched with a great, you know.
Right.
So, like,
Yeah.
I understand, but it's still
Yeah.
a week long.
I think it's one of the best launches of all time. I'm with Jones on that.
Quality over quantity.
I'll put it at number
Yeah.
4, Blood, but it's still top 4.
Where do we put Dreamcast?
Oh,
had
Dreamcast is
launch.
good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dreamcast is a good launch.
GameCube had
Not
a
good
great
enough
launch.
because they
Did
stopped.
GameCube
making
have a great
consoles.
launch?
Yeah.
I think
What
we
was
did
its
top
launch
10
title?
lineup.
Oh boy.
Why are
Oh
you
my
saying
gosh.
what was that?
Oh my
Huh?
god.
You had Rogue Squadron, you had Luigi's Mansion, and then, like, just, 2 weeks later you had Smash Brothers?
Yeah, because Smash is not technically a launch title.
Launch window.
Here we
It's
go,
pretty close,
embracing
but there
that
were still,
launch
like,
window terminology.
There are a
Stay
lot of
tuned
good
after
games.
the Q&A for the Blood and Damiani boxing match.
Was Dead Rising day one for 360?
No.
I think
it was
so.
not. It was not.
Launch window? Damn it. That's one of my favorite, and that and Turok are my 2 favorite games
Oh,
that I
yeah,
that
Turok
I
came
got
out
on.
pretty early on N64. It's
And I
like
guess Onimusha
February.
for PS2. Yeah, I don't know. Launch window, dude.
Yeah, Onimusha was not a launch title for PS2
That shit
either.
was launch window. I was gonna say.
Onimusha was quick.
Man, I think I would want to wait, though. Like, if it was like, wait a year and you will for sure get, like, a killer launch lineup, like one of the best lineups ever, I can wait. But at the same time, I feel like weak launch lineups are kind of fun to go through. Like, it's kind of fun seeing all of the bad shit at the beginning.
Right.
The only time I'll ever play Resogun, right? It's
Right.
the only time you'll ever get me to play some of that stuff.
Yeah, I think that's the funny thing, though, because, like, kind of back to Kyle's point, it's like it really one of the problems with launch is that you have so many games and like, well, I want to grab all of these, but you don't have time for all of these. So like, as long as like there's that one great game, like get that and like see the rest of you guys later. You know, it kind of doesn't matter. You know, if you have Breath of the Wild, who cares about the rest? Who cares about 1-2 Switch?
Yeah, I think one great launch game would make up for 70 middling launch games.
And I feel like the quicker the system comes out, it just like drives production and development. So like, let's get the console out quickly, and then just like the games will follow.
Will Halo Infinite launch in 2020?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
and that's another
probably
example. Like Halo
yeah.
carried the Xbox for pretty much until Halo 2. You know, it's
I think it's their highest priority
yeah.
of any. I think other things might get pushed back, but I think Halo will.
Halo Infinite probably finished before the Xbox Series X. Like, is production ready?
yeah.
Our next question comes in from Ebo Show. Hey, allies, when the next generation arrives, how will you decide which console to buy? Will you buy both? I will buy both.
Yeah, that's not even a question. Of course, I'm buying both.
Is that really of course?
Well, which
I
will you
won't
buy
an Xbox
first?
For me,
for a
my
while. There's
position,
no
yeah.
way.
Yeah, I'm
So
covering things,
expensive?
for Sure.
Yeah.
There's no way I can drop $1,000 this year. It's out of the question. So
I mean, I might not buy either if I don't have to. You know, like that week. You know, like I might wait a while because it's just, you know, if I'm not reviewing anything for a couple months, it's like I got a lot to do. I'm fine. You know, a lot of good Switch games. Like I just don't.
Yeah. I mean, in my case,
I don't know what the PS5 launch lineup is, so just you know, if it's Horizon Zero Dawn 2, then hell yeah, I'm buying that day one. You know, yeah.
In my case, I've got a really good PC, so I don't need an Xbox. So I'm just gonna get a PS5 because I can play most of the Xbox stuff anyway.
But yeah, I want to dig into what those, you know, how those things UI works, what they're changing different, what the controllers are like. You know, even something as simple as like the Xbox Series X like shoulder buttons changing. I'm like, I want to know, like, did they fix this crap? You know, so.
Me too, man. I feel like people will, whatever you say, people will give you crap for it. But it's just like, no, this is what I'm passionate about. I'm gonna get both. I love it.
Probably pick up the Series X controller.
Never
as soon as they're
apologize for
available.
that shit. Never apologize.
And you know,
Follow your passion.
actually, you know, the harder thing for me is just like, you know, I feel like once that happens, it's like, okay, that's the time I'm going to have to upgrade to a 4K TV. And like,
yeah, see,
logistics
oh my God,
of like, where the heck am I going to put it? You know?
Blood, I'm terrified of that too. New consoles mean new tech, means new TVs, friggin' 8K, all this crap.
Capture equipment, all that stuff. Yep.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, and it's tough because like I want PS5 so much more than Xbox Series X at this point, but like, again, we don't really know the launch lineup. And if you're dangling a brand new Halo game out in front of me, like and Hellblade 2, it's a tough dilemma.
PC.
Not my PC. I could run it on like lower medium.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's kind of the whole point, I feel like, of Hellblade 2 is the just gnarly visuals.
Dude, I feel like I'm gonna play Hellblade 2 and then real people are gonna come into my apartment and I'm gonna be freaked the fuck out.
You'll look next to yourself
Yeah.
and the band Highly
And-
Young will just
yeah.
be there.
And they'll just be mouthing those lyrics.
It's funny because we still get comments on that reaction. They're like, why are they so quiet? They seem like they're not into it. I'm like, we were terrified of
Grip.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, dude.
Gripping.
You were terrified? I was like into it.
Our next question comes in from Jesse. April is right around the corner, and because my name is really April, my favorite day of the year is April Fool's Day. You see, I'm usually very sincere and helpful and trustworthy, but on that day, I'm uber mischievous. Once I took a Dunkin' Donuts to work and put vegetables in it. Once I set out a tin of fancy chocolates, but it was empty except for Raptors, but no one knew it was me who did it. Have any of you played an April Fool's prank on anyone that was memorable enough to share? Love and respect.
My brother and I put a whoopee cushion under this like blanket in a chair, and my mom sat on it, and we laughed. We were like 8 years old.
God tier.
God tier.
And we laughed.
And we laughed.
We laughed hard.
I prefer to do April Fool's type stuff not on April Fool's because that's when they don't expect it.
Yeah. I don't know if I've ever done anything on April Fool's Day.
Though I
think of
am
anything.
releasing a little something that we made tomorrow that'll I'll set to premiere on YouTube after this. So keep your eyes out.
You can't tease an April Fool's thing.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, you can. You tease it.
I have to
Just
set it
tease
to
did it.
premiere.
Yep.
It's the only way to make it stream live is to set the damn thing to premiere. So
It's
I have
teased,
to.
it's done.
Okay, it's been teased.
It's been teased.
It's been teased.
Normally, I like hate the April Fool's pranks. I think it's fun to do April Fool's goofs. Like the time Huber and I switched shows was really fun.
Oh god, that's fun.
I think stuff like that I really like a lot.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a lot more fun when it's kind of easy to sniff out to where, you know, it's like at first they'll get you for like 10 seconds. And then by the time like a trailer's done or something, like, all right, I got it. Like this is, and then they actually have something that you can enjoy.
Does this world have the energy for April Fool's jokes tomorrow?
No, like I had an idea. I had an idea for April 1st tomorrow, but it would have involved like too many of you and too much work.
Yeah, it's always too much work.
I wanted to do a fake Last of Us 2 review where we just give it a 10 out of 10 and just like post it. Just like we
No, that
played
is
it,
actually
we did it all.
fantastic. Yeah, that is a
Yeah.
fantastic idea. Actually,
I wanted to do it so badly.
I think that's just going to be the real Last of Us 2 review, though.
I don't know. I think putting up a 10 that's not genuine on a
Or
YouTube
like a-
channel is extremely insensitive. You know,
yeah.
like legacy
Who would,
crushing.
who would do
Who would-
something
Who
like
would
that?
do that?
Who would do that?
What the hell is wrong with you?
Certainly not
I always wanted to
professionals.
do like the NES April Fools where like GameTrailers.com just became like 1988 just for like a day. And they're like
Oh,
every review was on the NES. The podcasts were all talking about news from that year. Or like what, just end of the 80s, just pick a year.
Yeah, there was one
But like,
time.
you know, weeks of work.
Yeah, we never got far into it as a pitch, but I wanted one time Brandon to just sort of like go with like game trailers, but basically redefine the word, where it was like Daniel Kaiser and Amanda McKay out there like tracking deer.
Right.
You know, it was like reskin the whole site to look like a hunting site.
Trailing game. God.
Our next question comes in from KY79. Hello, allies. What's the hardest accomplishment you've ever made in a video game? Things that took you hours or days just to beat or do and left you with immense satisfaction or frustration afterwards.
Eating
Sekiro
Bloodborne.
final boss. Sekiro final boss. Hands down. Hours.
Getting artifact armor in Final Fantasy XI.
Oh shit.
There,
It's
It was
like a year.
either that secret boss that we got on like the last attempt of Dark Souls 3 when I was streaming in your garage, Brandon, or Champions Road in Mario 3D World.
nice.
That stupid thing you had to do to platinum the witness was pretty intense.
Oh yeah,
So the Battletoads challenge that I did
Yes.
was very uniquely satisfying because it was kind of like my own personal touch water moment where it was just an immensely frustrating part and you're like trying your best and Chad is like, well, just do this. And it's like, no, it's not that easy. Like you're oversimplifying it. And then just finally getting it, I felt like a huge rush of relief. That was awesome.
I spent 6 to 8 hours on the final fight of Final Fantasy VIII with Ultimecia, being kind of stupid. Like I leveled Squall up to level 100 without realizing that the game scales to you.
oh no.
And then I wasn't doing optimal damage. You know what I mean? I was just doing Lionheart over and over and over. And so it took a very, very long time to beat that boss fight. And I thought that was normal for what video games are like. And it
But-
felt pretty good to finally take her down.
Nice.
Yeah, yes, that probably still felt pretty good.
Yeah.
I like RPGs that let you do that. Even if you're fighting the wrong way, it still lets
Mhm.
you win if you figured it out.
Yeah.
I'm technically still working towards mine. I'm hoping.
I'm
that
really
I
excited
get it.
about this, dude. I'm really, really excited to see this.
Like,
What
you know
is it?
about this, Kyle?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
What?
What is it?
Let him say it.
No. Do not say it. I think
Do
you're
not
working on
say
this in
it. I
secret,
don't know
right?
what this is, but do not say it.
Kyle
What?
sniffed him.
What?
sniffed
No, I'm not working on this in secret.
Okay.
Okay.
You can
Does
say
it
the
have-
game it's for.
Does it have something to do with where Bulletworth is right now?
Oh no.
Oh, okay.
No. Is that?
He's talking about a 14
Bloodstained?
thing.
Yeah, I'm talking about 14. You're talking about Bloodstained? Why?
No, Castlevania 2.
All right, I already
No,
beat
this is
Castlevania
Bloodstained,
too.
the
Oh,
background.
okay. All right.
But I mean, that was fun.
That was
I
just
tried hard.
Tuesday for Damiani.
Yeah,
No,
I guess
that game
so.
was ridiculous. I needed a hint on that. That was ridiculous. But no, the
Oh,
epic,
he needed a hint.
I needed to know what an item did. Nothing. I couldn't figure out what it did.
Yeah.
I tried
Okay.
everything. I tried it. It didn't work.
Castlevania 2 is all about the hints.
It only worked in a certain freaking spot when you kneel down somewhere. I was like, what?
Yep.
Stupid item.
Yeah.
Like, this is dumb.
Mhm.
This game is dumb. No.
Wait,
it's
so
not.
what is the
Cool.
actual thing you were? I thought you were trying to get like Castlevania 2 no deaths run. Like,
Oh, no deaths would be insane. Like I can beat it now without, because there's no real game over in it, Kyle.
Okay.
If you lose all your lives, it puts you back like just a little bit before where you died on the same screen. You just lose your currency. You don't level down or anything, but like your currency to buy stuff depletes to 0.
Mhm.
And it's not really that bad actually. The
Gotcha.
difficulty of that game is figuring out what the hell to do. Like that's the difficulty of Castlevania 2.
So what is the actual thing you're
What's
working
the
on?
real thing?
Yeah.
So there's a fight in Final Fantasy XIV called the Epic of Alexander. It's one of the 3 ultimate fights in the game, which are the hardest of the hard. Think the hardest WoW fights ever. It's like at that level or higher. And it's been on the down. Like I haven't been doing it as much lately because of the situation and stuff hasn't been easy. But gonna get back to it. I am 3/4 of the way through the fight, and I'm not lying. I think I've put 150 hours into this fight. And when I beat it, I don't scream or cheer at the end of, like, we clear savage stuff, which is like the normal hard stuff in the game. We just like cleared, my group and I cleared it last week, the current tier, and like they all cheered and stuff when we cleared, and I was just like, yeah, good job and stuff, like whatever. Like I'm just happy. Like this thing is like the most this has been the most stressful, insane, like pushing me to my edge to challenge like what I will accept with that, what like I wanted to walk away so many times. And it's like, if I can get this thing, like I'm gonna be so fucking happy, because like it's gonna be, because there's like I have some people are like, oh, you're never gonna do it, and I'm like, oh really? Challenge accepted and stuff. And it's when I complete it, I hope I can stream when we the group I'm in, we get back together and we can clear it. But I will sit down and explain the significance of like what this is, and it is. Yeah, I don't know how to say it. Like it's like the caliber of it is like esports level, like the challenge for doing this. It's fucking insane. I was like, I hate this. Like I'm too old for this. Like, give me another few years, I can never do something like this. It's just like I'm at the tail end of being able to do something like this. I just want to do it once. I just want to say, in one game, do the hardest effing thing in a multiplayer game. Just do it once, so I can be like, I did that. Like I that's cool to me. Like it's like a cool factor for me, but it's like it's also been like showing me like it's been like challenging a lot of like my personal comfort zones of a lot of things. And this is a game I'm very comfortable with, so it's like this is really trying. So it's,
how much do you have to rely on your teammates?
We have to talk out the most minuscule thing in this fight. Like every single, GCD, right? You know what that is, Kyle? You don't play MMOs. Global cooldown. Like every action you do is on a global cooldown. So you can only do like one thing every few seconds, basically. Each one of those has to be almost like meticulously planned out. And then you're doing all sorts of insane things on top of it. So your actions you're taking plus the movements you're doing, like it looks easy when you're watching it, but holy shit. It is, you slip up for a half second, it's over. You like the way you fail so fast at this stuff is, I was shocked. I never seen anything in a video game like this that's like, other than like fighting a pro gamer, maybe like you going against Daigo or something, like getting your like ass handed to you in like 2 seconds. Like you going against Daigo, you like have pretty much no chance. It's like that's the feeling when you first step into this. So you're like, what the is this shit? Like where did this come from?
Cool.
I will use intimidating shout.
Sorry.
No, I'm an arcane fire mage. Christ.
Our very last question of the day comes from DRD 7 of 14. AO allies, I've been thinking lately about some of my favorite games I've ever played, and I think one of the often missing factors is interesting level design. While playing Dark Forces 2 recently, I was reminded of the grandness of the scope mixed with a sense of verticality. This is missing in all but a few select games such as Arcane Studios and id Software. Thank you for mentioning id. In the early days of 3D, the possibilities were limited by technology, but this then dissolved in the latter half of the 90s as computers became more and more capable, until they didn't. After Mark Cerny's GDC talk, it really got me thinking about new possibilities again in level design. My question is there anything that each of you finds missing from older games that this PS4 SSD tech would be capable of and you'd want to see? It doesn't have to be level design, but I do think that's where we'll see the most technical strides beyond faster loading times in general.
I mean, I'm gonna give you a joke answer. I want to see this come back, and I haven't seen this since the NES days, and I think now's the time to bring it back. When you're moving your camera around and you just look right and you just killed an enemy, I want enemies to come back at the edge of the screen every time you're just looking. Every time you look, enemies just keep
Oh my
coming.
God.
Like with SSD,
The worst.
the amount of enemies that pile up on you and stuff, like a horde game, totally
The
want
worst.
that. Like insanity. Like you just can't look over your shoulder, you're screwed. Like every
Unlimited
turn.
respawn, Damian.
Unlimited
You
respawn.
get that? That's
humor. I
Damiani.
want this.
That's Tarantula Island.
There you go, Tarantula.
Amanda finally went to Tarantula Island in Animal Crossing, and they just keep respawning. Like you kind of get this pattern worked out of like going back down to the middle and then out to the side.
Did you know you can make your own Tarantula Island?
Well, you need the tarantulas.
No.
You can make them spawn.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if you cut down every tree and then lift them with a shovel and then pick all the flowers and destroy all the
What?
rocks, you can make tarantulas spawn after 7 p.m.
That's no, not doing that.
That's a troll.
It's not a troll. I don't even think it's a cheat. Like I won't dupe or time travel, but like this, you have to work for.
It sounds like
This
find Togepi in Pokemon Red and Blue.
this
It sounds
Man-
like destroy your game so that we can trick you into trying to do this thing.
You do this
But I
on
wouldn't
the-
want
No,
the
no,
money
no.
I got
on
from
a Nook Island. On a Nook
Got
Island.
it. Got it.
Not
Cool,
your
cool,
own
cool.
island.
These
Not
islands.
your own
Phew.
island.
I got you.
Oh.
I mean,
I
you
wanna know where all the
probably
money
would
came
work on your
from.
own island. You
It-
just don't
yeah.
want to do that.
It would probably work. It would be a nightmare.
Yeah.
The money for
The
that
easiest
museum.
one to do it on is the bamboo island because you can lift bamboo trees without fruit. You can you chop them down first so you don't get an item in your inventory,
Right.
and then shovel them up. It's great.
Hmm.
I made $260,000 this morning.
Wow.
Hmm.
From bamboo?
No, from spiders. I farmed them last night. You have to do it at night, but the shop is closed, so you have to sell it in the morning, or go to your British friend's island and sell it.
How many spiders is 260,000 bells?
Whatever 256K divided by 8,000 is.
You caught 8,000 spiders?
No, they're 8,000 each.
Oh, okay. Got you.
like 800.
No, it's
So
like
you-
30.
256 divided by 8. It's not
Oh,
800.
by 8. Place 80.
Yeah. I don't know if I have a maxed out wallet, but it's.
Why
or-
couldn't you pick when your shop's hours were? When people have
Yeah,
like different
know.
schedules. I hate
That would
that.
be nice.
I hate signing in at night and it's closed. I'm like, I hate you.
32.
I'm not changing my system's time. I'm not doing it.
You can
I
sell
like-
it to that box, but you get an 80%.
Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
this is trash.
I've gotten used to the box. I'm fine with the box.
Gotten used to the box.
I swung my axe at the door.
That's not how
Didn't
stores work.
I completely forgot
Yeah, what's the
original
question? What's the question?
The question
Basically-
was what older thing from games do
Yeah.
you expect to see
Oh,
return
right.
with
Oh.
faster loading times?
So I'm playing Half-Life Alyx right now, and it is an incredibly immersive game. But I hate there are just like these sort of these invisible lines that you cross, and everything stops, and it just is like loading,
Mhm.
and it just I understand that they have to do it. I'm not upset, but I think in general there are so many things that games do that kind of halt the momentum, whether it's, fast traveling or different ways that they disguise loading, right? Like you have to slowly crawl through something or go on an elevator or whatever. And getting rid of that, more things to just kind of not only keep you in the experience, but be able to keep you in the experience without compromising kind of the scale of the world is what I want.
Yeah. Something I want to go away is invisible walls, but that's not the question.
So one thing in like PS1 games with pre-rendered backgrounds is a lot of unique assets, not a lot of copy and pasted.
Yeah.
Meaning that different houses can have completely different dinner tables. I would love to see that come back. It's to save memory, right? If everybody has the same table, you know what I mean? You're saving memory in your video game. But to have completely unique homes, like I think of Final Fantasy IX every time, to have a unique interior no matter where you're going, I think adds a lot of life to a video game.
yeah.
If that becomes possible again, I would love that to death.
It's like the opposite of Greedfall. Greedfall,
Yeah.
Greedfall just made that decision like day one of development. They're like, let's not do that. Let's just
Yeah,
write
I think
that
of like
out it.
Skyrim too. Yeah, it's just the same
Yeah.
thing. And yeah.
Right.
Good
I was actually thinking that it's not perfect, but I feel like the Last of Us had done a pretty good job of trying to put more variation in there in terms of like people having different models of TVs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like one of those weird things I noticed. I'm like, this TV is different than the other couple TVs I've seen.
It helps a little bit, right? It's the tiniest thing, but it helps a little bit.
Yeah, you rarely see like a duplicate room unless it's like part of an apartment complex or a school or something. So
the other thing, though, that's actually one of the funny things, though, is that in real life, actually there is a lot of duplication. There actually are a lot of places that are exactly the same room to room to room.
For sure.
You know, like in and out.
It's just about like how they're in and out. Restaurants, they're kind of copy pasted. Stores.
Is Last of Us 2 the one that promised a different face for every enemy?
Ooh.
It was like they each have a name.
Right.
Like they call each other by their unique names and have like backstory and different dialogue and shit. So I think probably everyone has a different face.
That's coming into this generation. Confirmed. That's like the one thing I wanted.
I hope that they have all that, names, backstories, whatever, but a lot of them have the same faces, so it gets really, really weird. I thought you were Carlos. No, I'm John. Same guy, though.
I cracked open Red Dead 2 for the next Huber syndrome, and like I'm way into games now having every single NPC in the entire world aware that I'm standing there. Like there's just still like a lot of really amazing games that come out now and you just get right up in somebody's face and they're just like, I'm an NPC. What do you want from me? And it's just like, what honestly, Ben, the most impressive thing I've seen so far in Alex was there's a scene where you're very early on where you're in somebody's apartment and he's talking to you and you can just like I would just teleporting around the room and he would turn every time I would teleport. And continue the conversation, like continue his actual animation, and like he looked really great, and like the objects he was doing, and
that's Half-Life bread and butter.
I would really like, I would love Kyle's take on Half-Life Alex as somebody who cares a lot about like meticulous world building and believability. I think that game is pretty next level with specific areas. So, and I feel like it just like gets increasingly crazy.
I have such a weird feeling about Half-Life Alex, in that I feel like the people who love it still can't break through. I think it's a VR hurdle, right? I think like the game should have exploded. It should be the number one thing we're all talking about. Like you said, like a Mario 64 moment.
Right.
But I feel like just that obstacle of it being VR is still the thing where like people just aren't listening. It's so weird.
Well, I think it's because you don't really get it unless you can experience it, and not a lot of people can experience it. It's not like I don't think you can just watch videos of it and get it. And so, other games, right? Like other like I feel like you can watch The Witcher 3 and it's obviously not as ideal as playing it, but you get the idea of how good looking it is and how detailed the conversations are and all of that. And I think a lot of that is lost in Alex, because even the shooting, right? Like I typed in Slack last night at like 5 a.m. or something. I was like, that was like the best firefight I've ever done in a game. Like one of the best firefights.
I didn't know what game you were referring to.
I guessed it was Alex. I thought about it after the fact. I'm like, that could be Doom. That could be.
Yeah. I didn't specify. It was very late.
A lot of things. Well,
it was one of the best firefights, and you and I talked
about doing a Rise of the Resistance spoiler mode, and it's just like that would just be annoying.
Yeah,
like that would just be like 4 people would watch it, and everyone else would be like, no, I don't want. I'll check that out in a couple years or something, but
right.
Yeah.
So I see somebody in the chat mentioning sickness. Like typically I get very sick with
I hear that too.
But I have not gotten sick with Alex at all. I don't know what
Alex
it is.
Butter. Oh,
yeah,
butter.
it is. It's the teleport option has really
butter on warm toast.
They figured it out. So
and fast. I teleport so fast when I'm playing that game. Like I navigate an environment, very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Another last gen thing I was just thought of that I miss a lot is I feel like you could play around with scale more when things were lower res, lower polygon. Like I was thinking about like God of War 2, when you would just like shrink and you'd just be running on a giant chain and just these 2 like giant horse statues, and you would just see your character just like, like you used to be able to do some really crazy stuff with scale on that side. And obviously God of War 2016 has crazy scale as well. 2018, isn't it? 2018 has crazy scale as well. But I'm kind of like miss those moments of just like, oh, this is so huge. right now I'm playing a PS2 giant robot game that is in some ways more impressive than any giant robot game that's available today on our current generation consoles.
That game is nuts.
Yeah.
I watched a little of that. Yeah, that game's pretty crazy.
You mentioning everything that you just said there
I thought of Doom, Ben.
is a perfect description of a little game called Xenoblade Chronicles that I hope you get to try in May with the definitive edition. It very much fits that bill.
I hear you. Actually, that's to me like the most appealing thing is when they're just finally like running around in those trailers.
Right. Well, everyone.
Wait, I thought
sorry.
One last gen or like 5-6 gens ago, I want more games that are just like straight up beautiful sprite art. I just want that to come back.
Right.
Doesn't have anything to do with the, and I know there are some games that still do it, but like give me Suikoden, give me Symphony of the Night,
Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
The messenger people. The next. Sea of Stars. Look it up, baby. Oof.
Gotta look at that.
Yeah.
Damiani, you were playing a Castlevania game the other night. You were streaming it. What was that?
Oh, you mean the Record of Lost Sword, D-Lit, and something Labyrinth?
Yeah, how's that?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty good looking, but I mean, it's also very heavily aping like Symphony of the Night.
I have no problem with that
on an aesthetic level. But yeah, the thing is, even by saying that's like, well, how many games look like Symphony of the Night? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I have no problem with that.
Give me more fighting games with 6 sprites, please.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
How long till RE3, Huber? 2 days?
Thursday 9 p.m. for console.
Okay.
2
Nothing to do with what we're talking about at all.
PC, baby. No, it's on my mind too.
It just popped into my head.
All right.
Okay.
Now I think that's going to do
this game looks great.
Thank you, everybody who wrote in for questions. If you would like to write in a question, this is a $20 tier on patreon.com/easyallies. The way that this works is I will make a post saying when we are taking question submissions, and hopefully not post it early like I did last time. And then once the actual submission post happens, you will go to a Google form, you'll write your question, you'll write your name, and then we will answer them here on Zoom and not in the studio. But thank you to all the allies who could join us this month. And we will see you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.